Claude Cowork is one of the most powerful technologies out there, but 99% of people are still stuck using it incorrectly, wasting time on basic use cases and not unlocking its full potential. And in this video, I'm going to show you 5 insane Claude Cowork use cases that you can use immediately. So you can build your own AI employee and automate all that boring, repetitive work and unlock capabilities that weren't even possible before, saving you hours. And if you don't know who I am, my name is Jack Roberts. I built and sold my last tech startup with over 60,000 customers, and now I run a series of AI startups. So if you haven't already, grab that coffee and let's dive straight in. So let's go through the 5 Claude Cowork use cases. So as you may know, Claude Cowork is essentially an AI that works alongside you. It can take not just information, but actual action on your computer and across your business. Now, number 1 we're going to look at here is what we call computer use from both on your desktop and also mobile, which is really, really impressive. So the idea of computer use is the fact that Claude Cowork can complete effectively anything for you in your browser. And in addition to that, anything you're realistically doing in your apps on your computer right now, if you're on Mac, Claude Cowork can also do that for you. So it could fill out forms, it could check apps. Effectively, no more looking around trying to find out where certain sections are. Claude Cowork can accomplish that for us. Claude effectively sees our screen and takes actions. You don't need any connectors, and you can just use Claude now with the UI. So what can we do with this? We can fill in forms. That's like insurance, onboarding, government portals. So all that annoying admin, gone. Apply for things for your business, grants, whatever it is. We can move data between apps. So that could be taking something from a Google Sheet and transferring it into another document or a database. And we can even operate creative tools like Canva, Obsidian, and it can save us hours a week. So let me show you exactly what I mean. So for example, I'm now in Cowork, and let me just show you that by bringing the browser down so you can see. Let me first demonstrate how computer use works. The way that you do that, by the way, is I'm going to drag this over, and all you're going to do is come down to your name like so. I want you to come over and click on settings. Once you're on settings, you're going to come down here to general. Under general, I want you to make sure you've enabled computer use and unhide apps when Claude finishes. Now, let's go back over to our actual task over here. Click task. I'm going to give it very simple prompts. Hey there, I'd like you to go over to my app Granola and just find the section where I can extend my free trial, please. Okay, beautiful. And the reason why this is important is because some tasks are creating $1 million strategies and getting leads. Others are just things that we would need to do that's going to take us time. We can instruct Claude to do that. Now, what's interesting here is that we're not using an MCP. We're not using any APIs. We're using Claude Cowork's ability to pretty much open this as it's done right now, hands-free. You can see my hands are right up here, guys. I'm doing nothing. It's now going to go ahead and find the location of where it can physically go and do that. So I can see Granola's open down in the bottom left. It shows business trial 15 days left with an upgrade button next to it. This is your current trial. It's figuring out where to do it, and it's literally clicking through and finding out where to extend that. So if you're ever stuck troubleshooting on N8N or Make.com or any app, we can have Cowork, as the name suggests, work with us to accomplish those tasks. Now, the second part of this is something called Dispatch, which effectively lets us use Claude Cowork on our mobile phones. So we could be at the coffee shop, at the gym. It no longer matters. So how this works is you're going to connect it together. And effectively what's going to happen here is you're going to open up on your phone. You need to download the app, and it's going to ask you to connect them together. Once you've done that, you can effectively just speak to Dispatch whenever you like. It will appear for you on the left-hand side, just like it does in the app. And effectively when you do that, it looks at your desktop and I can drop a message. So I can see, as you can see on my phone right there, it's the exact same thing. I could say something like, hello. Now check this out. Will it appear magically and instantaneously? It does. Cool. But what is an actual use case that you would genuinely use this for? Well, I'll show you right now. I might say something like this. Hey there, I'm stuck out at the work. I completely forgot to do to this morning. I want you to go into Canva, go into my second design, and there's a design called F1. Within F1, there is a screen with an F1 car on it. I need it for a client presentation. I completely forgot. I don't have access to Canva right now. What I want you to do is go ahead and grab a screenshot of that and draft an email to me in my Gmail inbox with that screenshot and a description of what that screenshot is. Thank you. Bam. I send that off. Why is that important? It effectively can do things controlling the browser, getting desktop files, effectively anything on your computer. Now, one small hack that nobody mentions, I really want to make sure you understand, because ultimately it's got to be the stuff that works here. If there was a priority matrix of epic stuff that works, it would be the following. Number 1, MCPs. So if it's connected to something via an API, which we can do by coming down here to the button, you're going to come down here and click on connectors. So if I come on to, say, a new task over here, for example, and I click on plus, I come down to connectors. These are all of my connectors. I'm connected to Canva. I'm connected to Gmail. Now, this is what I would call a priority 1 connection, a level 1 connection, which means that if you can connect connect it here, please do that because it will be a lot faster than using the computer. It's way better. The second thing is any file that exists on your actual computer or desktop, it can pull and manipulate very, very easily. Only as a last resort do we want to use the Claude desktop intelligence. It is getting better, but fundamentally, where possible, we'd really prefer an MCP. You can add custom ones here also by clicking manage connectors. You can add a custom one up here by clicking the plus. Browse connectors, add custom connector to connect things that aren't even supposed to be connected. That's how cool it is. And then we get the prompts. So I'm going to come down and say, hey, I'm absolutely fine with that. We're going to allow this for the session. So we just say, that's cool. That's decent. You sat down having coffee with your girlfriend, your boyfriend, and meanwhile, Claude is working his magic in the background. Now, when you think of Cowork, it's effectively anything you need to. So look at this. It's found the F1 car on my Canva 30-page deck. It's exported page 2, metaphor slide, and drafted an email with the slide image embedded, a download link, and a description of what the slide covers. Incredible. And as you can see, if I look at the top, I have this thing here. I click on it, F1 car slide from Canva. Here's the F1 car slide I wanted, and it's attached to the image. Now, that could have sent the email. I could say, hey, send it to my assistant, or send it to Magoo Enterprises. How cool is that? And that's literally grabbed that from Canva. I should also say, it can edit it. I could say, instead of it calling it F1 car, call it F5 car. In fact, let's just test that out right now. Hey, dude, do the exact same thing, but instead of calling it F1, call it F5 and just write me a joke, please, and actually send the email. And guys, when I come back, it's now got the F5 car slide updated. It's got the F5 and it's even got a bit of a joke. I think that's pretty cool. So you can see the potential of this. It is insane. Little hack, by the way, it will not allow you to send it via Cowork. That's actually a great thing. I typically never send emails via any kind of AI. Draft is what I like, then I manually approve it. You just want to be 100% sure because you cannot have a single % of a failure rate with that. Now, the next use case actually solves Claude's largest problem with Cowork. Barely anybody talks about it, but I guarantee you've run into this issue yourself. I'm going to show you exactly how you fix that with a very, very powerful use case. I'm talking, of course, about projects. Well, what do I mean when I say projects? Because a lot of people misunderstand what this actually means. Well, it is, and if you can imagine it this way, an AI that never forgets. Dun, dun, dun. Chat 1 or Chat 47, Claude already knows your contacts. By the way, if you haven't seen my full video on projects, you have to go check it out on the screen. It is a really good video. It'll take you very far. But the TLDR of it now, just to whet your appetite, and I'll cover some of the key stuff here, is that projects, and it's a new use case you've probably not seen before, gives Claude persistent memory. So you can upload files, set custom instructions, and Claude remembers across every conversation. So that could be docs. You set the instructions once, and that will persist across all chats. How cool is that? Very cool. Why the hell do we care about that, Jack? Well, without projects, we have to re-explain context every single chat. Does that sound familiar? Hey, I'm a business that does ABC. I remember you have to paste the same documents constantly. But with projects, Claude knows your stack, it knows your style, and your constraints from the very first day. Well, what can I do with this? Well, we can development projects. We can build client workspaces. So if you've got multiple clients, you can have a client A, client B, client C. Has everything stored there for you. Meeting notes, meeting transcripts, emails, ideas. Think about things like brief and design, everything in one place. That's how incredible is that? And also content creation, brand voice, style guidelines, past examples, everything's remembered. Let me bring this to life for you. So what does it look like in the actual file itself? I want you to come inside on the left-hand side on projects. But before you do that, I want you to do me one favor. I want you to actually come over to chat. And within chat, I want you to give the following prompt, which is this. Hey there, based on everything you know about me, I'm going to be creating projects within Claude Cowork to organize my life. I want you to give me the categories that I should be using. Now, you will be blown away by how great these are. Rule of thumb. Never have more than 7 to 8. If your categories exceed 8, you've likely gone too far, too crazy, unless you've got clients like client ABC. But realistically, you should never really have more than 7 or 8 plates. If you have, you probably need to consolidate them a little bit more, or you're doing way too much. So let's come back over now to projects under Cowork up there. And what do we do? Well, the idea is that you're going to build them for your life. So I have one for YouTube. I have one for business. Now, let's build one together, which I think is the best way. And we're going to do something that's really interesting. We're going to do something with LinkedIn. And let me show you what I mean. I want to have a project that's about growing my LinkedIn. I always think it's good to focus in on one core platform and then distribute over the different places. So let's say I wanted to do that. Well, what would I want? Well, I'd want it to have my tone of voice and is exactly what I sound like. And I'd like it to understand my business. So let's go ahead and do that. If I click on a new project, I'm going to start from scratch. I'm going to call this one LinkedIn. And so, for example, if this was something design related, I might say something like brand guidelines, all right, and get my entire brand guidelines appearing. If you're wondering what that is, by the way, that is something called a snippet in Glider, the thing I've been yapping with. One thing you can do, I just want to call out if you haven't used this already, if you're on personalization, you can add, if I default screen this for you, things like lowercase. So now everything will be in lowercase. So if you want to talk like Yoda, you can go ahead and do that. It's just great compliment. If you're going to be saying the same thing again and again, you just say the keyword and it just basically appears. For our purposes though, what we kind of want to do is give some context. So this project exists to help me grow my LinkedIn following to 100,000 followers followers within my target niche. Everything here is about improving my LinkedIn, connecting with clients, growth on LinkedIn, networks, business, and getting more views on my posts. That's the instructions. And I'm going to say, your job is to challenge me, to help me think better, to use my own personal LinkedIn style to create better posts based on ideas that I have, whatever the thing is. And then it will automatically at that stage create something. Now it's asking for any files, right? So let's start to give it some files. One of the things we could do if we were using LinkedIn is to actually come over to LinkedIn, click on me. If you're not connected, by the way, come say, hey, I'd love to connect with you on LinkedIn. I don't massively communicative on there, but it's great to connect on there. You come over to settings and privacy, and then on the left-hand side, you come down to data privacy, and then I want you to come down to download your data. Now, what you can do on LinkedIn is download all of your posts. So that's a great way to get our tone of voice right. So I can say, yeah, download, that's fine. I just want my articles. That's all I care about. Request the archive. It'll be ready in about 10 minutes. Request is pending, and when it's ready to rock and roll, we'll get an email, and then we can actually feed it all of our LinkedIn posts to increase it, which would be awesome. Now, whilst LinkedIn is going ahead and grabbing that information, let's continue and do one other thing that I'd like it to do. So to do this, what we're going to actually have it do now is go ahead and grab information about our website. So I might say something like, hey there, dude, one of my websites is something called glido.com. What I'd love you to do is to go over that, capture everything about glido.com and just save it as a file within this project directory so you can reference it when creating LinkedIn content, please. Okay, boom. I'm going to go ahead and send that one off. And the cool thing just to add here is that I don't necessarily have to feed the information. I issue commands in a nice way possible because it becomes AGI. We got to watch our backs, right? We know where the hell it's going to be. It'll come do the work for us, use the correct MCPs to do the job, and then build up this beautiful knowledge base. Now, you may not want to be growing on LinkedIn. It could be YouTube. You could have no interest in social media. The actual point is how we get to the outcome, right? When you understand how, when you know how to fish, you can fish for anything, which is the whole point of how you build these projects out. Then once you've got it, you can actually grab that document and just drop it into your LinkedIn folder on your desktop. Alternatively, what I did is I gave it a load of text and I said, hey, just basically get all these articles for me, which is awesome. We do also want to protect your context insofar as possible. So one thing I'd like to do is give it the following prompt, which is, hey there, what I'd like you to do is just to go through the articles that I provided for you in your outputs and just create for me a series of rules such that if I asked you to create a LinkedIn post for me, you could reliably recreate that, please. Cool. And then the other thing I'm going to give it here is a list of 1,000 viral validated hooks so that it actually understands what captures attention. So let me come ahead and grab this. So these, right, actually are something that applies to Instagram, but weirdly enough, hooks apply to everything across all of them. So let me find out where it was now. There you go. This one here, 1,000 viral hooks PDF. Now, what's really interesting about this, where is the link? Okay, it's right there. So I'm going to come ahead and download this. Someone pulled this together, absolute legendary. It has links actually for everything. So what we can do is leverage what's actually working to go ahead and find it. So I'm going to come down and download this to the computer. And you might guess it, guys, it's going straight into the LinkedIn folder. But since I'm lazy in 2026, I don't want to do that. I'm just going to tell Cowork to do that. Hey there, I just downloaded a folder called 1,000 viral hooks that we're going to be using to create our LinkedIn hooks. What I'd love you to do is grab that from a download folder and just throw it into a LinkedIn folder so we can reference it when we're creating content. Thank you. And what I think is really cool here is that it's kind of got all of the things that are running on the left-hand side. This needs our attention. We'll give it our attention. That's absolutely fine. Yes, we're fine for you to access our files. That's okay. And look, it's now taking over control of the computer so it can find out what it needs to. And there we go, guys. What it has done is found 1,000 viral hooks, copied it, put it into our LinkedIn folder. We appreciate you very much. So now let's come back over to projects and we got LinkedIn, which is great. And now we have Jack's LinkedIn post rules. So it's derived from 14 things. Cool. And it's basically found the identity. Ideally, you want to give it as many posts as you can, which is cool. And it's got all the viral hooks. So let's give it a test on a short LinkedIn article. So then I could say something like, hey there, I'm trying to do a LinkedIn post on Claude Cowork. I think it's a wonderful thing. They just released a new feature called projects. Could you do a little bit of research for me and then just draft something that might be good? I'll come back in a minute and check it out. Obviously, just use the viral hooks and everything you know about my tone of voice. Thank you. And once again, guys, we could just top them up. Like there's draft 1, draft 2, draft 3. I could be asking several questions in tandem and I can manage them very conveniently on the left-hand side, which is a complete godsend. And just like that, we've now got 2 options. Let's take a look. Option A is tool just got superlative. Claude Code just got memory. Option B, tool just got feature. So it's cool. It's leveraging core psychological hooks and adapting it. And then we have both posts on the right-hand side. Claude just got memory and most people are using it wrong. Claude Code just dropped auto dream and it's absolutely ridiculous, blah, blah, blah. And then we've got 3 posts that are pretty decent. It's got emojis and it'll do this in your style of voice. So now we've locked down with projects. The next thing is something that saves me so much time. And if you actually do this one correctly, you'll be blown away by how impressive it is and just how much time it can save you. Of course, I'm talking about presentations, just like the one that you're looking at right now. Well, what's the significance of it? So imagine this. You go from rough notes, ideas, it could be in a meeting, it could be for a YouTube video like this, and we can go to decks that you can scroll through very easily by just going right and left on the mouse pad. Why do we care? The manual way is the fact that you write content, you got to design each slide, format charts, do everything pixel by pixel. It is time that you could otherwise be spent researching or improving the actual quality of the presentation. With Claude, we can paste notes, we can build a skill, which is I highly recommend that you do, and you can get slides that are consistent every single week. So for example, this thing down here is part of my new slide deck thing, which is cool, right? Now, what do we actually do with this? We can do client decks, we can do training materials, we can do social media content if you really want to. There's so many things you can do with this. Let me show you. Well, in a way, I kind of already am showing you, which is the thing I've got right here. So let me go ahead and grab this resource from my community, which I recommend that you actually really think about using something similar to this. So essentially, we don't want it to feel like an AI generated presentation. The way that this actually works is that we're going to define our brand style. We're going to describe the content that we're going to cover. We're going to pick a strategy. Then Claude's going to show you 2 to 3 options from that, and then you can refine it and export it. So you define your brand style. Basically, I want to create a branded presentation that does insert the blank, whatever it is. We can feed this our color palette. We can feed this our deck strategy. So for example, do you want it to be quite light and easy to go through, or do you want it to be a little bit more text heavy? And you can do that. And one little hack that I can do, and look at this, curiosity, frustration, hope, confidence. We can embed this with all the classic storytelling frameworks. And all you literally do is come over, download this, or just your Control A to get all of it, Control and C, head over to Claude Cowork, click on a brand new task. Or for example, for me, again, I might come to projects, I might come to YouTube, and then I might paste it in and say something like this. Hey there, I would like to create a consistent presentation style using the below skill. All right, come down, I'm going to paste that in, and then it will now guide us through the entire process. We can talk colors, we can talk anything. And the cool thing is that once you spend the time building it and doing the right things, once you crack that, you then just basically drop your thoughts and it will build that for you programmatically. One little hack that everyone misses, which is really huge, like you'll notice, right, for example, even on this presentation right now that I'm running through, you'll notice I have these generated images. And it's doing that automatically. It's doing that because I give it access to a very cool API called Kia API, and I built a skill around that. So if you don't have that yet, you can head over to Kia.ai. I'm not affiliated or sponsored with them in any way. They're just, I think, the cheapest way that I found so far to use image gen. Now, image gen, you're going to find that you spend more money on image gen than if you just went straight to Google, which is free. But I'll be honest with you, just the lift in quality, I really think is worth it. So all you're going to do once you've signed in, image API, the one that you want is going to be Nano Banana 2 at the bottom. It's the best, fastest. The model's like crazy. And actually, I think it's 50% cheaper here, which is wild. It really is crazy. But you don't even have to worry about all that. This looks really complicated, right? Don't even have to worry about that. All you need to do is grab an API key. So if you come to API Market over here, all you're going to do on the left-hand side is click on API keys. You're going to go over and create a brand new API key, copy that API key, and then guys, all you're going to do is come straight back over to Claude. You'll see, by the way, if I come down to pricing, you'll see Nano Banana 2 is going to appear near the top. So let's just quickly pull this one up. You're going to see the price. It's like 50%. What I recommend you always do, 2K, never go 1K unless you want really substandard quality. Literally 50% cheaper here. It's like pennies. I do loads of these images. I think it's super duper cool. We come back over that here, and all you're going to do is basically say this. I want you to develop for me an image generation skill. This is going to create consistent infographics for me. And the way I'd like you to do this is to leverage the Kia API. I'm going to share that API key down below. Your job is to use the skill generator to develop this for me. Now, what we're going to do here, guys, is give it the API key and say, this is the below API key. I want you to ask me questions. We're going to do a series of revisions until we're both happy it's at the right standard. In addition to that, I want you to include this logo on the hero's chest. It is the last thing that I downloaded it. Put it in a folder called logos, and you're going to use those logos whenever you are developing something, basically to make the images more enriched. And then what we can do is have a file on our desktop of our brand logo. And what this means is that when it develops these characters, it will actually include them in the images for us. Now, once Claude Cowork has that skill, it will then effortlessly be able to generate them in that particular style. How crazy is that? And one little hack for you as well is tell Claude that you want it to go online, and when it discusses certain tools, to grab the actual logo like this. It's gone ahead. I didn't touch these logos. It's just gone ahead and found those logos for me automatically and added them in. And then effectively it will open us up, and all this is a HTML document. Let me show you. You see, that's it. It's just a HTML document. That's all it is. This could be turned into PDF. It can be done into anything in any style that you want to, on all the pages that you want to. Get it to your perfect style, and then once that's locked down, you can pretty much just share this replicably for everything you do. It will save you hours of time. Now, the next one is probably one of the highest ROI things you could possibly do. The more things we can take off your mental ledger as an entrepreneur, the more effective and more focused you can actually be. I genuinely find this one probably the most almost best one that I use because of what it does and just simplifies my workflow. And what I'm actually talking about is triage here, and not in the way that you kind of think. So check this out. Think about this. You open your inbox and it's already handled. It's already sorted. So drafts, sorting, follow-ups, all on autopilot. Claude reads it, draft replies. And did I also mention now that because we're using projects, because Claude has that context, here's a cool thing. When we do it in our business project, it already knows. It knows everything. It knows about our meetings. It knows about what we're doing. We'll wait for breakfast that morning. If it's in there, it should be in there. It's a level of personalization and up-to-date context that we've not really seen before. That's why it's cool. Triage is an inbox. All we're going to do is connect with Gmail MCP. Claude's going to read, it's going to categorize, it's going to draft, and it can even schedule follow-ups if we want to. So our rules on autopilot. What do I mean by that? Well, all we're going to do on the left-hand side, come back to projects, click on business. If you have any folder, you need to have a business folder. You have to have one that's just for your general business stuff. Now in here, what I want you to do is make sure that you've got the Gmail connector. It's the easiest one in the world to connect. If you haven't connected it, manage connectors, just simply search for Gmail and it will appear almost like the boogeyman. You say its name 3 times, it appears, right? Bam. Then literally open it up. Now, it's a good job they don't let you, they let you create, which is fine. I'm going to let it create Gmail drafts freely because there's no issue in doing that. Won't let you send. That's for your protection. I think generally speaking, that's a good thing. Because one small mistake and it's crazy. So it's fine. You give it the permissions and you're ready to go. So we're going to come back over now. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to have to do one thing. Now, I recommend that you combine this into a morning brief, depending on your schedule and how often you want to check your Gmails. So one thing that you may say is something like, hey, what I'd love you to do is to go through my unread emails. And when you're doing that, what I'd like you to do is create a draft response to those emails. And then I want you to do this and create what I call a scheduled task where this is performed twice a day. Once at 9 a.m., once at 5 p.m. Dubai time, please. And then in addition to that, I also want to set up another scheduled task for a morning brief. The morning brief I'd like to receive in the AM, which is going to be at, let's call it 8 a.m., is going to have all the high priority emails, so ordered by highest priority that I need to address. Anything else based on our conversation and context that, I might have missed. All the upcoming meetings for that day, any relevant news that's happening in Dubai right now, and anything else, let's have a affirmation of the day, perhaps, some kind of inspiration. And then anything else that you want to put on my radar based on our conversations that I should be doing, something that's going to add value to me. So I've given it 2 tasks set effectively, okay? I've told it, I want you to go ahead and check my emails. You're going to categorize it and respond. So you go from the creator to the simple approver. Now, what's the benefit of that? Is we have a limited amount of creative energy in the world, right? We do. It's like willpower, right? You have infinite willpower. The only catch is that each unit of willpower costs more than the last. That's why it's hard at 10 p.m. to refuse the pizza or the curry. It's like, oh gosh, all right, fine, whatever it is, right? But at 9 a.m., you can take on mountains, basically. That's the big difference here. So the theory here is that basically spend all of our decision-making capacity, all of our creative decision intelligence on the important things, the things that matter. And responding and drafting emails isn't the stuff that matters because AI can do that for us. Then we can give us our sign-off, either JR sign of approval, your sign of approval, amend it, whatever you want to do. This can also do it in our tone of voice because it's got all the stuff. So it's just going to take that garbage off your shoulders to make your whole process way easier so you can spend more time in your life, the things that matter. MMA training, drinking coffee, spending time with the kids, whatever it is. And as you can see, it's not asking me, hey, Jack, do you want to schedule it? The answer to that question is, yes, I do. Go ahead and schedule it, please. Now, here's one thing to bear in mind that not a lot of people really talk about with Cowork. And obviously, I want you to win, so I'm going to tell you how it is. The thing is, there is such a thing as token limits. In other words, you don't have unlimited access to this. So ideally, you don't want to run it like every 10 minutes. Otherwise, your tokens will burn ablaze. So just try to be a little strategic about it. Like if the pro plan, I think on Claude is like, you just got to get it. It's like $20 a month. It doesn't affect me if you buy it or not, but just think of it as you're buying a mini AI employee as a new product category. That's why I think the Max is so good, honestly. So look, I recommend you do that. The other thing is, when you're building up these scheduled tasks, you just don't want it running a million, just to be like aware of your tokens with that. With that in mind, it is worth the trade-off, 100%. If your time's worth more than 30 cents an hour, you're going to crush it. Now, this has pulled up a morning brief. Let me show you exactly what that looks like. Also, I click on the morning brief. Let's have a look what we've got here. Look at the way that it's broken down all these emails. This is fantastic. We've got Notion, we've got Shopify, we've got loads of cool things. We've got all today's schedule, what's happening when it's happening. We've got tech happening in the UAE, AI, and then we got a quote from Steve Jobs, your time is limited, so don't waste it living somebody else's life. Maybe that's the thing we should take away from today's video, right? On your radar, what's happening, sign Loom, do this, do that, incredible. Morning brief, and you can customize this in a million different ways. I think it's cool. One of the things I'm going to be doing as well is basically adding an open link here, which you can see I've got. It literally takes me to that email. I'm like, yes, I need to action that right now. I click on that and then bam, I'm in the inbox. How cool is that? And obviously this is a template, and we have templates like this all over the school community because I think design is so freaking important so people can just grab it, go and have a great time with it. So now we understand exactly how to leverage our emails and buy back our time. The last thing we have to do, it may be one of the most important ones of all, and it's almost one that everybody seems to forget, and that is analytics. Data, boo, we don't like data. No, we don't like data, but today we're going to love data, and I'll tell you why. So weekly reports now write themselves. With better data, we can make better decisions. Everybody knows this, right? It's standard, and yet we don't use AI to do this. And Claude Cowork actually unlocks capabilities that did not exist that you couldn't really do before this. So you can channel performance, trends, anomalies. Everything is now summarized in Claude Cowork. Claude pulls the data and will build the report. Now, here is the crazy thing, and I need you to do this. You need to identify what all of the data in your business is. Is it in WordPress? Is it in school? Is it in Stripe? Where are those data sources? Is it your bank? Is it Mercury? Where is it? And we need to make sure we connect all of them via an MCP. And then we can use this to leverage and turn into any kind of report that we want to. What can I do with this, Jack? You can do marketing reports. You can do revenue dashboards. That is like the coolest one of them all, the revenue dashboards, and even anomaly detection. This means that Claude's working for you on your behalf as an AI employee, looking for trends that you may not miss. You may not get it. You may not see the trend line. It will spot and identify things that you didn't even realize were happening. So in our projects, we're going to come over to business because this is where we conduct our business. This is the way that I only use Claude Cowork now. I don't use it any other way than projects. When you start using projects, you get converted. It's like the new air fryer basically, but for cool people. So now we're in business. The first thing we need to do is go ahead and actually get the right connectors. So come on this, can click on connects. So it's worth spending a few minutes with a blank sheet of paper and just think about where's all my stuff. So we may, for example, say Mercury. I bank with Mercury. That's a connection I need to re-authenticate. Let's go and do that right now. I can come down, I can click on connect. Once it's done, you can now go ahead and do this. Funny story, my accountant asked me a question. He's like, now what's the number of this? And I was like, I have no freaking idea. I literally copied his email and I was like, Claude, just got an email from my accountant, go figure this out and draft the reply. And he freaking did it. And the accountant was like, that was an insane amount of detail. I'm like, I know. That's the kind of guy I am, man. We do this level of detail. So now we've connected that. We basically want to connect everything. Now, the real power of Claude Cowork, what really blows the mind is the fact that we can now connect to things that don't even have connections. My old saying, my last tech startup was, we'll either automate with you or through you. And I didn't mean that as a threat. I just meant that you can automate. If they don't have an API, we can find ways to automate things, always find ways to automate things. So how would I do that? Well, if I come back over to my business project now by coming onto projects on the left-hand side, I select business and create a new chat. What I want you to do is create for me a gorgeous interactive dashboard with income across 6 months, make it like $1 million at least. And I want you to add different colors and insights and infographics and logos and just make it outstanding, make it very interactive, different tabs, different charts, and just make it look fantastic. And just like this, guys, it's created for us a dashboard. If I bring this over, you can see all the numbers moving, which is great. And bear in mind, we can go back and forth until we get this dashboard to a point that we like. This was one shot, by the way. Look at this. We got revenue, we got members going on, we've got insights, effectively everything that you want to, all the data there. It can find trends, member acquisition, revenue targets, US, UK revenue, coaching, anything that you possibly want is now available. And of course, all of this also works inside anti-gravity. Now, the truth is you're never going to get as much out of Claude Cowork unless you really understand its capabilities. I'm going to cover more of those capabilities so you can do more than you've ever imagined in this video right here.